voice of growth, mastering the mind and market.
And I loved swimwear. I bought so much of it, and a lot of it was very expensive. There was a big niche in the market for a high quality swimwear brand. Everything I do is very unique. I put a lot of love and detail into all my suits. I stay up at night just thinking about all these different ideas that I want to run with and do. You have to have a thick skin being an entrepreneur. I think we all have one life. We should dream big. And I have a lot of ambitions and aspirations for myself. I love to negotiate more than anything. You know, the world will throw you crazy things, and it's how you respond. I jumped the gun and I was like, I'm just going to go all in. I didn't tell anyone I was starting it until a week before. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. And I had it planned for 6 months. I had a teacher and he was telling us all about taking an entrepreneurship endeavor. And I asked him, I go, well, what have you done? And he goes, oh, well, I haven't done one yet. $1 million question. I don't know.
Hey there, Carley. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for being on the podcast, The Voice of Growth. And I know that you've been busy and we've been busy and we finally got a chance to catch up. So I'm so glad that this is happening.
Me too. I know it's been a lot of back and forth.
So I always like to start on the sort of the origin story and where things started for you. And particularly about the BootinBikinis side, because I know you've done other things. We did a research about some of the things you've done in your past in empowering women and all these other things. But let's start off with give us the start, the idea of BootinBikinis.
Definitely. Well, I would say growing up, I grew up in San Diego, and so I was always in a swimsuit. My friends and I were going to the beach every weekend. And I loved swimwear. I bought so much of it, and a lot of it was very expensive. We're talking $200 to $300 for a set. And my parents never could justify how such small fabric cost so much. But I was just always enamored by it. And that's what I spent all my money on was bikinis. It wasn't until I got to U of A where I saw a lot of girls either wearing like $10 bikinis or $2 bikinis. I'm not going to give like the brands names, but there was a big niche in the market for a high quality swimwear brand that was in a like $100 price point for the set. And when I kind of noticed that, I was like, I'm into something. And I was so passionate about it. So I started sourcing different manufacturers. And it wasn't until I went to Greece that I was really inspired by European fashion. And I really was like, you know what? I'm going to go with this. I used up all my savings that I did have from babysitting, waitressing. You know, I saved up like crazy and fully funded it. Started just ordering samples, comparing manufacturers, quality. Had my first photo shoot actually in my sorority house. I texted a few of my friends and I was like, who wants to model? You get a free bikini. And we had like this white curtain. It was kind of ratchet, you could say, but it was so fun and exciting. In the beginning, also, I started boots. Cowboy boots were really big at U of A. And I saw a niche in the market because if you went online, they were always sold out. And I was like, how can I balance winter and summer? BootinBikinis, that's the name. Started running off with that. And then, we just kind of started from there and been growing like crazy.
No, that's fantastic. I of course, being in Arizona, I totally understand the lifestyle. It is hot here, half the year or more. And if you don't have a pool, you find a pool, you find water. So that's awesome. You said you grew up in San Diego. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I grew up on an island, Coronado. It's not actually, it's like a peninsula, but people call it
I know Coronado very well.
Oh, you do? Okay, have you been?
Yes, many times.
Many times. So I've grown up there my whole life. My mom's been there since she was, I think, 12. And it's a very small island, but I absolutely love it. My friends and I are still best friends to this day. Everyone rode around bicycles, going out, it was crazy on the weekends, just between house parties and stuff and a lot of pool parties I'd always host. And there couldn't have been a better place to grow up. It truly was it's a magical place. And I love going back.
It's almost like a different world there. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
it is like a little bubble, and you know everyone, and everyone knows you. Every time I go to the grocery store with my mom, it takes like 2 hours. She knows everyone in town.
So let's talk a little bit about that early start. What was it about you back in, we'll say, even high school and early college? Where was the DNA that led you to do this? I mean, are your parents in the mix? In business? Did you have anybody in your family that was in business? Like what? I mean, that's a big jump for you to do that. What was the sort of the mentorship that was there for you?
Yeah, well, back in Coronado, actually, my whole family they're all entrepreneurs. Not one person between my grandma, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, they've never had a boss the day in their life. And my dad, he was in land development, real estate. My mom's an interior designer. My grandma, she started her own interior design business. My papa, he had a real estate business, but like it was more so building houses and all that. So
Hmm.
everyone kind of like I would say like beat it to their own drum. That was kind of in my DNA. Education was important to my family, but it was never like I would be in trouble if I got a C. My mom was like, C's get degrees. It was much more about like a hard work ethic and common sense will get you further in life than actual academics. So I was kind of always raised with this idea. My dad also, he dropped out of high school when he was 16
Hmm.
and he grew up with absolutely nothing, became very successful on his own, was just a very hard worker. So we've always had this mindset that him and I truly have always bonded over entrepreneurship and business. In high school too, I started a different business called Carley's Customs, where I cut up designer Louis Vuitton authentic duffel bags and would put them on like vintage Levi jackets. So I kind of did that for a minute, which was interesting. And then I started like different volunteer clubs in high school. Also in eighth grade, I started a women's club where we made all these bracelets and donated them to Rady Children's Hospital. So I would say like
Hmm.
I've always just kind of wanted to be a leader. I never really cared what anyone thought and just kind of beat it to my own drum. And my dad, same thing. He never cared what anyone thought.
Yeah. One of the things I like about your brand, and obviously I'm not a direct consumer, but people around me are consumers. What I like about your brand and what I really like about your story is that you're able to be true to yourself and also follow the market. I mean, you identified an unmet need, you identified a target market, but it's also coming from you. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. Yeah. Everything I do is very unique. I put a lot of love and detail into all my suits. So I feel like everything is authentic to me. But it's also been this whole woman community, especially at U of A. Um, it's been magical, like just seeing everyone not only in it, but supportive of it. My little was here yesterday visiting me, and she was like, it's so crazy to see what started to what it is now. And my girlfriends from U of A, they've been so supportive seeing it from the start.
No, that's great. I think community is so important. Sometimes our friends are there for us, and sometimes they try to hold a mirror and help us to grow by being more critical. Do you have people in your life that are like that, that are maybe less rah rah, high five, and more like, hey, why don't you really think about these sort of things?
My mom. My mom keeps me grounded. She's like, well, we need to talk about taxes, your LLC, make this legit. She's very like fact based and she likes to make sure everything is, the T's are all crossed, the I's are dotted.
Hmm.
And it's great. I need someone to be more serious with that. My dad was always the big dreamer of it. And my mom
Hmm.
was always the more like logistics behind it.
Yeah, I know your dad passed away just recently, and I my condolences, of course.
Thank you.
I grew up without a father. My father died when I was one, so it
No.
was kind of an odd thing for me that I didn't really miss anything because I didn't know what I was missing. And I
Mm,
know for you, your father was just this pillar in life, and so I'm sure he's very proud of you. And
thank you. Yeah.
tell us about that phone call when you got from PacSun, or how'd that all roll out? I mean, that's
Yeah.
must be crazy.
That was exciting. So every year I do internships, meaning I this has started when I was in Barcelona. I did propose this idea. I got a lot of DMs. Girls needed internships for school credit and everything. And I was like, I can't really afford to pay interns. That feels weird bringing someone on for free. But girls were like wanting internships. And I was
Hmm.
like, interesting. I'll put an application out and see if anyone applies. And we had over 150 applicants. Was not
Wow.
expecting that. And I was like, what? This is crazy. And within that, I was like, I was expecting to bring on one or two. I brought on 10 girls, and it kind of snowballed into this like 3-month internship where we'd meet on Zooms once a week. And I would like just kind of bond with these girls, and they would help make Instagram stories, come up
Mhm.
with brand ideas, look into the market, our competitors, and also vendor like meetings. So my one intern, Kaylee Walden, she's amazing. She also went to U of A. She found this amazing show called Collective. And I actually
Mhm.
attended Collective as a buyer, helping someone out before to pick out like swimwear, which is funny. And she presented me this opportunity, but it was really expensive and it seemed really ambitious. But I looked into it and we got a booth and we went up, and me and my colleague at the time, Sandy, she's great as well. We did
Mhm.
not know anything about it. We walked in like we knew what we were doing. I had no clue. And a bunch of vendors will come up to your booth and you just kind of fake it till you make it, and they want to buy. And we had a lot of success at the show. And you never know when it's a big buyer. I mean, we're all PacSun. They won't tell you who they are.
Yeah.
They'll just come by your booth and they'll take your information. So they took our information. I didn't know it was PacSun. And then I get an email that PacSun wants me to come up to their headquarters in LA and meet with them and show them my whole spring lookbook. And I was like,
Wow.
is this legit? Like, what? And so I was about to move to New York City, and I was like, this is crazy. Yes, I'll come up. So I drove up there by myself. I brought all my suits with like garment bags, set up a rack, and they
Mhm.
had like multiple buyers come in. I did a whole presentation on my brand, myself, why they should buy from me. And they said, we love it all. We're sold. Well, I email you the MOQs. I was
Wow.
like so excited. Took myself out for lunch at Hillstone. I was like, Mom, I did it. It was definitely a proud moment. And then from there, obviously we moved forward and worked with them. It was great. It was great when tariffs hit though. So that was difficult figuring out the pricing and the shipping and all
Mhm.
that. But we've
Yeah.
been lucky to figure that out. And yeah, it was a great success.
And you're still selling through PacSun as well?
Not at the moment. So with tariffs, I put on hold bigger vendors just because with my manufacturer, everything was very much up in the air as it is overseas
Right.
right now. And I didn't want to have to wait 6 months, 5 months. Like sometimes they can ship me something and I'm supposed to get it next week and it could be 3 months later. And then even PacSun too, they had to cut back on budgeting for swimwear.
Yeah.
But we're still in cahoots trying to set something up for next spring.
That's great. If I remember correctly, you do like a limited run, right? Yeah. Once they sell out, that's kind of how it goes, right?
Pretty much, yeah. We have one suit right now, the Kenzie, that sold out pretty fast. So we're thinking about bringing it back just because it is such a great seller and it's really unique with the detail. But I try to do everything in small batch. I think a lot of fashion now is over mass produced and overdone, and you don't want something that everyone else has. I want, our customers to be so excited about our pieces because I put so much effort into them that they're running onto the site the day it drops, getting it and feeling like, wow, I'm in this amazing bikini. It's unique. You can't just like get it everywhere else.
No, I like that. You're looking at your Instagram. Your bikinis are, and this is for me. Like I'm a layman. Obviously, I do have a little bit of some experience with the fashion industry, but not really this. I mean, it's like it's elegant, but it's also a little bit playful. There's polka dots. There's rhinestones. Or maybe not rhinestones, but it looks like something like a rhinestone.
Yeah.
Um, is it?
Well, there's silver, so like there's silver studs,
Okay.
and a lot of manufacturers in the United States, because I've tried to be sourcing here. I met with a manufacturer in New York. They're not able to produce the embellishments that I want,
Hmm.
or for the price point that my customers could afford. All my suits are sold as 98 as a set. That's why I'm trying to be niche in the market. But with the US, I'd have to, change my prices to a lot more, and the quality wouldn't be as unique.
If you had a magic wand and could put one of your bikinis on any model you wanted, who would
Ooh,
it be and
Sophia
why?
Richie.
Yeah?
Not that she's a model, but I'm not really big into the whole like model, this, that. I don't really care. That sounds terrible. I should.
Yeah.
But I love Sophia Richie. I love everything about her. I've always looked up to her since I was like 16. For some reason, she's like my it girl.
So when are you gonna meet her?
$1 million question. I don't know. I'm not like a crazy fan by any means. I just think that she's like really elegant. I like how tasteful she is, and she just seems like a great mom and wife. And I don't
Mhm.
know, great style, very classy. I love her fashion.
So this is we do a lot of sort of pretending and thinking about things differently on when I ask questions here. If for some reason Bikinis disappeared tomorrow, what would you do with your life?
What would I do in my life? I'd probably be starting a different company. I already have a few different ideas of other companies I want to start. I love, I stay up at night just thinking about all these different ideas that I want to run with and do. And I'm not going to say what they specifically are, but I love coming up with a concept in my mind and then figuring out how I can bring that product to life.
That's like entrepreneurship 101. Is that what you studied at U of A? What'd you study?
So at U of A, I was in an entrepreneurship class and I got in a fight with my teacher, funny enough. Did not love that class. Basically, I had a teacher and he was telling us all about taking an entrepreneurship endeavor. And I asked him, I go, well, what have you done? And he goes, oh, well, I haven't done one yet. He's like, I have a lot of ideas. And I'm like, so you have these
Mm.
ideas, but you're teaching us, but you haven't once, because it's a lot of risk financially, confidence, you're putting
Yep.
yourself out there publicly. And it was really hard for me to grasp learning from someone who never experienced that high and low of failure and putting themselves out there. And he had a lot of critiques for my business strategy for BootinBikinis before I even started it. I did a project on it and he
Hmm.
didn't really see the point of it. And I don't know, it was interesting because I'm like, I was a 21-year-old girl running with my idea with my waitressing money, and you're teaching me about entrepreneurship? Okay.
Steve Harvey. This is a great story about Steve Harvey.
Hmm.
Back in high school, he was told by one of his teachers that he'd never amount to anything and he would never be able to afford a TV, a color TV. So when Steve Harvey made it big, he sent his teacher from high school a
A TV.
TV every year and still does.
Oh, I love
So
it.
it's sometimes we have this axe to grind and I mean I'm sure now it's sort of like semi playful,
Hmm.
but people like that, that professor that sort of was poo-pooing your idea, like that was some fuel to the fire for sure.
Totally. And I'm never
Yeah.
one to I'm not like a sensitive, like, oh, I'm sad. No, I could care less what people think. You have to have a thick skin being an entrepreneur. You have to be able to put yourself out there, take criticism, and really not care what people think if you really do believe in your product. And no matter what, if you're putting yourself out there, you're going to have people not like it or some people love it. That's part of just being out there. But you have
Yeah.
to have a thick skin with being an entrepreneur for sure.
So give us an example of a time when maybe you got some really bad criticism or something. Somebody was really upset about your whatever. Is there a story you can share with us regarding that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've never really had a customer be super upset, to be honest.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. I don't know, to be completely honest. I haven't had one person ever come out being like, I'm not happy with my suit. Obviously, if they aren't, I'd be like, so sorry. I'll give you a store credit
Yeah,
or let's do an exchange. I like to be, always giving the best customer service. But not really. That sounds terrible. I
that's
I
good.
obviously have experienced like shipping delays and like customers being upset with that, especially with like me receiving suits late and having to ship them out later. And I've always been like, oh, well, here's a discount code, or oh, I'll make it up to you, or doing my best to make sure the customer's always happy will always be my priority.
Yeah, I guess with that as a backdrop, my next question is really about you being a female founder.
Mm.
And you've got to balance between being authoritative and being likable and being approachable, but also getting stuff done. Do you find that there's a harmony that you have to have between these different aspects of your life, or are you just you and people just need to figure it out?
Well, I feel like with anyone I've ever brought on, because I've also had a team, I've also employed girls that pay people part time. Like I've worked now with over 100 women between my years with Bikinis, be it all the internships, be it I've had people on to do collabs with influencers. I've had girls do my social for, years at a time, and I'm still super tight with all of them. And the retention of girls wanting an opportunity is amazing because I really try to create a really positive environment with Bootin. I've been
Hmm.
fortunate enough to work in, the service industry, corporate world. I've worked for bosses I've loved, bosses I haven't loved, and really have gotten the idea of how I want to be treated, how I want to feel as an employee. That now I can use those lessons to treat my other, girls who ever do work for Bootin with the utmost respect. I'm super transparent, super welcoming. Life's hard. You got to be nice to people. And I've had bosses that are just so demanding and, oh,
Hmm.
no, thank you. I always want to show, work hard, play harder. Let's have fun with it. Life's short, it doesn't need to be that deep.
Yeah, for sure. The thing about social media and what we see today is sometimes the life of an entrepreneur is very glamorous. Would you agree, or would you have a different thought about that?
Totally. I think that yes and no. I'm very privileged for my life. I've worked very hard, to pay my own rent, pay my own bills, and figure it out on my own. But also, life's not always glamorous. I think social media can be really fake, and a lot of people play into it. And to be honest, you somewhat have to create, buzz and business and drive and get those
Yeah.
sales. And that's just part of social media. But to be honest, I delete Instagram for weeks at a time, and I'm having another go around my Instagram because I love getting off social media. My favorite thing is putting my phone in a drawer for a day and going out, going to the beach, going on a walk. I hate being on my phone scrolling. So social media can be toxic. And I think it's really important to take breaks and, stay away from it as much as you can, but also in a professional manner, creating content and driving sales. So it's finding that balance.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously in your early to mid 20s,
I'm turning
and
25 next week. I'm scared.
wow, well, happy early birthday.
Thanks.
And yeah, that's you've got a lot going for you. You've been doing a lot, but certainly you have a lot to go. Like if you were to look in a crystal ball and think about where you'd like to be in life in, we'll say when you're 50, like double your years here. Um, Paint us a picture of what you imagine your life to be then.
At
I know
50?
it's hard to do, but yeah, we're here at this podcast, so let's make it happen.
Okay. At 50, I would love to have a family. I'm very family oriented. I want to find an amazing husband. I want to have 4 kids. I want a big house with a pool that I can host. I love hosting all my friends. And then work wise, I would love to continue, obviously, BootinBikinis. I would love to create a huge business out of it, be able to bring on women and really create a fun work environment. I don't want it to be so corporate. I want it to be really creative and unique. I've never been one to want to sit behind a desk all day. Like in
Yeah.
school, I loved lunch break the best.
Mhm.
So I'd want to create a really fun environment and bring on girls that work hard but play harder, if you know what I mean. Have a great mindset. And I don't know, I think we all have one life. We should dream big. And I have a lot of ambitions and aspirations for myself, but definitely to be a mom is my number one priority one day.
That's great. I mean, you have a good family foundation, and that's always very useful. I mean,
Mhm.
my mom, I mentioned earlier, my father passed away early, so she really had to dig deep. I mean, my dad died when she was like your age, basically. So imagine having like a
And
one
she
year
had
old.
you so super young.
Yeah, she was. I think she was 24 when she had me.
Wow.
This is a different time, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she had to really dig deep, and she moved back to my hometown. My grandmother was in the mix, my other grandmother. So I was raised by women, which gives me a massive edge in business. And a lot of my friends that are like super whatever masculine, I am very masculine as well, but I have that feminine ability to see certain things, like empathic almost.
A
And
lot more
so
emotional intelligence.
100%. And it's been useful for me in business negotiation. And I've been really like leaning into it.
Mhm.
Um, what are some, and this is going to be an easy question because I think I already know the answer. What would you say your like top three strengths are in business and in life?
I would say emotional intelligence. I love digging deep. I like to have really meaningful, deep conversations with my friends. I would say in business negotiations, I love to negotiate more than anything. And then I would say I'm really honest and loyal to my friends. There's no BS here. I'm honest to my customers. And I think honesty is always going to be the best. I can't stand liars or any BS. So I would say no bullshit, honest.
No, that's good. I like that. Um, I guess with that, and I'm trying to like weave a thread here.
Mhm.
Is AI part of anything that you do? And if so, how do you use it?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm such a grandma. Like, I like to meet in person, pen and paper, technology. I'm like, I swear I'm like the worst at technology, which sounds really bizarre, but I hate it. I like to do stuff old school. But I have been using now AI to help me write more professional emails, which I've been addicted to. And it's kind of when you start getting in the groove of it, you start to
Mhm.
really enjoy it. But I always still reread my emails, change out things, and
Yeah.
always make it authentic to myself. But that's the only thing I really use from like AI right now.
And I know you use a lot of models in your social media posts and all that. Would
Mhm.
you ever consider using an AI model?
No, 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 no. I want to show cellulite. I want to show real bodies. And honestly, I just kind of asked my friends, who wants to model because my friends really are the consumers. It's girls my age that are buying bikinis. I want it to be real and authentic where you see it on her and you can see it on yourself. You know what I mean? So I always am open to whoever wants to model. I have girls DM me and I'm like, great. I want it to be real and authentic. They don't need to have a big following by any means. I just want someone who also is like a good reputation and like a strong, I would say, woman empowerment, like female, I look more at than I do anything else.
Yeah, that's powerful. I think the whole finance world is being taken by storm. The engineering world, a little bit by storm. Accounting is being taken by storm. The movie industry, and now you see it a little bit in fashion where AI is entering in that with
Hmm.
these digital twins, and yeah, it's changing for sure. But at the end of the day, you're creating a physical product. I mean, you're making something that people wear, so
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to separate that from the AI, crew for sure.
definitely. 100%. I do think that AI is going to, obviously become involved into my business. It's going to become involved to everyone's business. I just don't think we're there right now, but I could definitely see in the next year us growing into that more so.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot with AI. Certainly I'm kind of a bit like you that I don't like technology very much.
You
I'm
don't?
not. Am I not door? No, I kind of. I mean, I run a technology company besides doing this podcast,
Hmm.
and I'm kind of like a woodsman. Like, put me out in a mountain lake or on a beach, or like get me out there, and I'm like happier than hell. And like I'll rebuild a sailboat, whatever. I enjoy that. So I have to use technology, and I have to be like well versed at using it.
Hmm.
But this is what's happening, and from what I see, and it's got me sort of thinking. In I would say in the next 2, 3 years, maybe 5, you will have like you and I will have an AI employee, an agent that works for us that is completely virtual. That when you go to like ChatGPT, whatever, you go up to ChatGPT, you type something, and if you don't hit enter, you walk away, nothing happens, right? And then you
Yeah.
hit enter, and then it does its thing. There will come a time in a few years where it'll be literally you're gonna like say, "Hey," like "Hey Siri," and that AI agent's just gonna like look at your desktop. It's gonna send you emails. It's gonna be on a Zoom call. It's gonna have like an avatar of like a person on a Zoom call. How do you feel about all that? Being somebody that doesn't like technology like me.
I feel like it's obviously just inevitable. Like, yeah, I don't love it, but if it's going to be beneficial and it's going to speed up processes, like, it's definitely interesting. And I think I just don't like change. I'm really hard on letting things go or letting people go, like, out of my life. I'm very loyal, like I said. So, like, just the idea of change is always scary to me, but it's
Yeah.
also really exciting. So, I'm sure once I get used to it and we all get used to it, it'll be really beneficial.
Yeah, what's crazy is like my grandmother, she's still alive and very healthy, thank God.
That's awesome.
She's 94. She has a cell phone, and which is not a big deal, but she has a flip phone, and she has everybody's numbers memorized. It's
I love it.
ridiculous. So I was there a few months ago, and down in my hometown, and I wanted to grill some steaks. I'm like a grill guy, I guess. And she goes, "Let me call Douglas Meat Market." And so she pulls out her phone and she dials 520-364, whatever it was.
She knows it. Yeah.
He knows it,
Love
and it's crazy. And now my mom's on Facebook, and so these things, yeah, they're 100% inevitable.
Mhm.
But I'm a little bit more cautious because obviously my world's a little bit different in that I employ people for engineering aspects and machinists, and so it's a little bit more closer to the vest. How
Yeah.
much do you know about Stoicism, by the way? Have you ever heard anything about Stoicism?
No.
It's a philosophy, and when I tell you what it is, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much me." So Stoicism, in generally speaking, is like if life gives you lemons, you make lemonade,
Mhm.
essentially. And if you can't control the world around you, you can only control how you react to it, how you respond to it. Um, do you see anything, or have you had an experience in your life where you've had to really dig deep, like retreat, dig deep, reformulate, spend some time with yourself? I'm not sure if you're religious or not. Have you ever had a moment like that in your life?
Of course. I think when my dad passed, everything in my life switched a lot for me. I lost a lot of, not myself, but like hope, if that makes sense. It happened very sudden. He lost a lot of blood in his surgery, and it was one of those things that I couldn't control. And I'm such a control freak. And I got to the hospital before he passed, but I was just so shaken up by it. And I still am, I think, to this day. But it's something that has just kind of changed your mindset on life. And I had to retract. Put a pause on everything for a minute. I put Boone on a pause. I put my life on a pause. I moved home to be with my mom and take care of her a little bit. And
Uh-huh.
I think you kind of, the world will throw you crazy things and it's how you respond. And I put myself in grief therapy and really wanted to dig through the emotions I was feeling versus going around it. I think, unfortunate things happen to a lot of great people, but it's how you react that really
Yeah.
shows. So I tried to handle it the best, but fully, I deleted social media. I wanted to like live in the moment and just really go through it privately. And it was good and peaceful, but that's just life.
Yeah, that is. I heard a comment the other day. I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it had to do with grief. That you never fully let go or get away from the grief. You just become familiar with it. You become
Yeah.
friendly with it, and you begin to understand that it's never going to go away. That man is going to be always be part of you, no matter what, no matter what, and he's going to his memory is going to just support you and make you happy and make you sad. I mean, I have loss in my life, and same thing. Like you have to be sort of familiar with it.
Yeah.
Um, 25 years old to be right. What advice would you have for a an 18-year-old, 19-year-old going into college, about to have that whole experience for themselves, that might have like a personality like yours, an entrepreneurial personality?
Definitely. I would say read books. I've been really passionate about reading. I just think that educating yourself, I love to learn. I think being a sponge and being super open to learning from others. I've always been the person that asks like the most questions in the room and wants to always learn the most. So I would say like always ask questions, go the extra mile in your classes, ask your professors, more about their personal lives as well. Like I liked really getting close with my teachers, especially in the retail department. And then beyond that, if they want to start an entrepreneurial endeavor, I would say find a mentor and start it. I think I jumped the gun and I was like, I'm just going to go it all in. And I was succeeded, but I also lost money in certain ways. I'm currently
Mhm.
trying to start a mentorship program where, say, for instance, a girl can come to me directly and I can just, be her mentor and help her, FaceTime her and guide her and answer any questions so I can save her money in the long run of how to
Mhm.
start a business, niche, manufacturers, social media. But if you want to start a business, again, my best advice, educate yourself, read books, do your online research, and then start it. I think a lot of people overthink it and they talk about starting a business. I didn't tell anyone I was starting it. until a week before. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. And I had it planned for 6 months. So I think that moving silently also helps, but also just going for it. You got to go for it. A lot of people, I hate when people talk about talk and talk. It's like, what are you doing? Walk
Yeah.
the walk, don't talk the talk.
Yeah, there's an interesting phenomena that exists in psychology where people like us are driven by an internal sort of engine, you know,
Mhm.
and we get satisfaction by like getting things across the finish line. And sometimes when people just say that they're going to start a business, that same feeling is released, the same like dopamine, and so then they don't have any gas in the tank left to
Mhm.
actually do it across the finish line. So I myself, I like suffer from that a little bit, so I have to be really careful about what I share with people and what I don't. So 100% agree.
Definitely.
Um, any final thoughts you want to share with our audience? I mean, this has been a really informative and fun
Thank
podcast,
you.
and I'm glad you came on. But I want to see if you have anything else to share with our audience, or maybe a little bit about what you're doing in the future, or this new release you've had recently with the new line. Anything you want to
Mhm.
share?
Yeah, definitely. Well, our new suit is going to be coming out soon. The Regan. It is with my roommate. She's amazing. And she's also like an influencer. So we've been working on this collaboration for a while, putting a lot of love into the PR packages, the ideas behind it, and just like the photo shoot itself. This suit is really cool. The material is amazing. Each suit, too, I'm coming out with, I'm really perfecting the quality, I would say. And the material keeps getting better and better.
Mhm.
And then I think my other advice just to any, young woman who is watching or who wants to start their own business, again, is just do it. And feel free to reach out to me. I love to help in any way I can. But there's something really powerful. Bikinis to me is not just like a swimsuit line. It's been, again, my roommate did not know her before Bikinis. Now we're fully living together in New York with other girls. So my brand has brought me so many different places, which I think is
Mhm.
awesome, but it's also introduced me to so many amazing women. I was in New York the other day on 50th Street, which I never go up that
Mhm.
far. And a girl stopped me and was like, oh my God, do you own Bikinis? I was like, yeah. Oh my God. Like, you know what that is? So I always have
Wow.
an imposter syndrome with it as well. Um, but then she was like, yes, I love, following along and, I want to start my own business. So I think my next step in my career is I really want to help other women start their own businesses. I love being a woman leader, a woman founder. I'm very proud of that. And just starting like a woman community. I think it's, what fulfills me more than just the swimsuits.
That's fascinating, Carly. That's a movement. I mean, you've created a movement, and certainly bikinis the outlet for now. But I have huge hopes for you, and
Thank you.
I've become a big fan of yours. And so, thanks
You're
for
so
being on the
sweet.
podcast.
Of course. Well, thank you for your time. This has been so fun, and I'm happy that we finally got to do it. I apologize. I've been
Indeed,
so busy,
it's
but it
okay.
was great that we finally got to connect.
And then when you come down to Tucson, make sure to look us up, and we'll spend some time together.
Definitely. Yeah, I should be there maybe within the next year. We'll
All right,
see.
fantastic. All right, cheers.
Bye.